All right. I think we are live. What's up, everyone? Coach Tony here. You guys made it. So we're gonna wait like a minute or so to see everyone trickle in. I see a bunch of you guys waiting in the queue as well too. Quick shout out, Magoosh. Welcome everyone to the Q&A about the changes to the SAT. It's been I feel a wild day in the SAT land over here as well too. Oh, I hear myself. There you go. We're good now. Fantastic. All right. So as everyone's trickling, I'm going to introduce ourselves real quick. My name is Coach Tony, your college admission expert. I give families the unfair advantage in the college admissions process and help you all graduate debt-free as well too. And today I have an amazing guest, the very amazing Erica. I'm going to have her introduce herself right now.
Hi, everyone. If you've been around our channel, you might have seen me on some of our live cram sessions. My name is Erica. I am the Senior SAT and ACT Curriculum Manager at Magoosh. So where Tony is an expert in all things admissions, I am an expert in all things SAT and ACT. So dream team here today to answer your questions.
Awesome. So cool. So quick recap of what's going to happen. I see people trickling in. If you're here, say hello in the comments so we know you guys here. Give you guys a quick virtual shout out as well too. But quick plan for the day. We're gonna go ahead and kind of recap what College Board is doing, all right, effective like today, moving on. And then after that, it's all for you all. So it's whatever questions you all have will stay as long as you all need to answer every question. So let's go ahead. Again, same thing. If you are here, I see people trickling in, say hello in the comments. So we see you all here. Fantastic. All right, cool. So I'll go ahead and get started now. Right? So thank you everyone for being on time. All right. So the SAT made a few changes this morning. College Board made a few changes. They made 2 official change and they made a little teaser for you all. Right. So the first major change is the optional essay is going away. Say it with me. The optional essay is going away. So effectively in June of 2021 will be the final month you can take it with the essay. After that, it'll just be the normal sections without the essay component, right? So my little success tip for you all, in regards to the essay and the SAT as well too, definitely check in with the schools you want to apply to and see what they say, right? Ultimately, the ST is just a test to send to all these schools. So, but the best people who know what to do is your schools themselves. So if you know you want to go to this university or this college, definitely reach out to them and ask them, right? Ask them, hey, what do you think? Should I submit my score? Should I take my test? All right, all these stuff, they'll give you the best answer for that as well. So one more time, the SAT essay is going away. All right, moving on to number 2, right? The SAT subject tests are no more. SAT subject tests, no more. So that's insane. That is, I think a bigger change in the last one, right? So the SAT subject, for a little context as well too, there's different subjects. So think of the AP test, right? But then there's an equivalent SAT subject test. There's one in math, English, history, a bunch of these subject tests for you to show competency and your knowledge of these subjects, right? So my tip before was always, if you're taking the AP test, just take the subject test, right? It's an extra test. It helps you as well too. Speaking from a former UC Berkeley admissions, right? There's actually certain tests they're looking at. Like for example, the math level 2 was a unofficial requirement for engineering students as well too. So I'm super excited to see what's going to happen with schools who used to consider these types of tests moving forward as well too. Okay, so the SAT subjects are no more. So if you are a U.S. resident and you registered for the subject test in the springtime, it was canceled and you got your fees refunded. So don't worry at all. You can go ahead and check that, but they basically canceled everyone, refunded that. So no more subject tests. If you are outside of the U.S., you can still test to June 2021, or you can request a refund as well too. Either or, same thing. Go back to rule number 1. You gotta ask the colleges, right? So the College Board let everyone know that it's the subject text no more. So each school is now reacting a little differently, right, to every single situation. So the best answer to will my college take it or not, or what's going to happen, just reach out to the college or university that you're interested in, and they'll give you the best answer for that. So that is the 2 so far. And moving on to the teaser, this is the more, I think, also very, very, very exciting news. The teaser is that they're working on a quote unquote more flexible, quote unquote streamlined digital SAT. So a more flexible, more streamlined digital SAT. So more information, we have no clue. That's all we know at this time. I think if you try to scour the web, try to find anything, that's the best you got to what we know. If College Board didn't want to comment more about it, but we do know that we're going to find out more specifically about this new digital SAT in April. So same thing, we'll probably come again. If this video does well, if you guys enjoy this video, we'll definitely come back, maybe do a part 2 in April to see what happened with the new digital SAT. But for now, that's a little teaser for you all that they are working on a more flexible and more streamlined digital SAT, no matter what that means, right? So quick recap. I think you guys are great. Love the comments coming through. Keep going down. We're going to answer them right after. Same thing. If you're just joining us right now, this is Coach Tony and the amazing Erica from Magoosh, our resident SAT and ACT test prep expert. So if you're joining us, this is a perfect slide for you to recap everything, the new changes that College Board is making. 1, the optional essay is going away. So in June 2021, in about 5 months, is it. No more after that. Right. Number 2, the essay subject officially is no more. So if you signed up for the spring testing, those are refunded. If you want to register, they're gone. So there's no more subject text there. And number 3, there is a quote unquote more flexible and streamlined digital SAT coming soon. More information in April. Right, so that's all the major takeaways from this event is. You can definitely read more articles, but those are the main 3 takeaways for today. And here's the best part, since you all are here live, you guys are here live with us, we get to have an awesome Q&A with the amazing Erica and myself. So we're gonna go ahead and go through questions. If anyone has questions as well too, feel free to drop it in the comments as well. Fantastic. Hello, Andy. Andy says hello. Pretty cat. All right. Andy says that they want to aside from Magoosh because they said that it was very helpful for your brother. That's super awesome. I'm super excited to hear that your brother had an awesome time with that as well too. Oh, this is actually super cool as well too. Brina, shout out to Brina. Brina tried the free trial of Magoosh, really liked it. It has challenging questions to help you feel much better on the ACT. Super shout out to Brina.
Love that, Brina.
All right, Erica's question is for you. Danielle asked, with these changes implemented, do you recommend the ACT or the SAT?
That's a great question. And unfortunately, I have to give kind of a non-answer, kind of the same answer we've been giving to the rest of these, which is check with the schools you're applying to. Some schools only take 1 exam, not a lot, most take both. But I would recommend checking with your schools to ensure that they do take either test. And then I would also check with those schools to see if they even consider the essay. Some schools didn't consider the essay prior to this event. Some schools will stop considering the essay after this event. So check with those schools. They're probably still formulating exactly how they feel about this news. So you may need to check and then check back later, but it's going to totally be on a case-by-case basis. If you are deciding personally between the 2, if you know that your schools will take either one and neither one is going to hurt you, I would recommend taking a subject test a practice test for either one, and then going with the one you perform better on just to give yourself a leg up.
Super awesome. All right, let me see. Andy, thank you for this amazing Magoosh videos. Fantastic. Magoosh, best test prep out there, everyone. If you haven't signed up, they have a free 7-day trial. You can definitely try it out, see if it's a good fit for you as well too. Yeah, Andy says it really helped regain my morale. Fantastic. All right, next question. We have, so if the SAT removes the essay, do you predict that the ACT will follow? What do you think, Erica?
So this is also a really interesting question. So the tests have kind of followed each other in a lot of moves over the years, including making that essay optional. In terms of removing the essay entirely, unclear. So part of the reasoning with the SAT is that College Board offers a lot of stuff. They offer the SAT. They formerly offered subject tests and now still offer them to an international audience. They're still going to be offering the essay in school day administrations in some states. They offer the APs. The ACT, there isn't quite as much going on there. So some of that rationale would be missing for the ACT to make that switch. That said, cutting the essay is a major cost-saving measure in all likelihood, which is something that a lot of test prep organizations or test organizations are concerned about in the pandemic. So it's distinctly possible that the essay will be going that way for the ACT, but we haven't heard any news of that happening. I would not plan as if that's going to happen, but keep your eye on the news.
I think I was mute there. One more time. Samira asks, if I took a subject test, can I send my score to the schools? You want to take that one, or you want me to chime in? Or
I can try. I think this is maybe a little bit more admissions related, but I'm going to assume yes. Tony, do you have any more context on this one?
It's one of those there's the same questions where I feel a lot of the answers will end up being the similar answer. Is that so? You all found out about this change to the SAT. All the other schools also just found out about the change to the SAT today as well too. It wasn't a secret. They all met together and planned and like, all right, let's figure out what we can do kind of thing. It's basically College Board made a decision, right? They let you all know and other colleges as well too. So if you just look it up, even on their like official statement, they even said that like we just let the schools know already. So each school will kind of factor this in however they factor it in. So the best answer for you, Samir, is look at your top 10, 20 schools that you want to apply to. Reach out. Hey, I took my subject last year, right? I'm a junior right now. I took it last year and freshman year. Can I still submit my scores? Will they give me any credit or this and that, right? I still predict kind of how this year went. Half the schools will say yes, half the schools will say no, right? It's a mix of every single thing as well too. But this is definitely a school, but now kind of College Board kind of put the responsibility off them now. It's a school by school basis. So I definitely would go on that. Cool. All right. Retta with an amazing question right here. I am from Ghana. Welcome from Ghana. I am writing on March 13th. I registered for the SAT with essay. What do I do?
Amazing question, Retta. So if you are currently registered for the SAT with the essay, if you are registered before the June administration, so that would be the March administration, the May administration, or the June administration, all three of those, you can take the essay. They have not automatically canceled it for you. You can cancel it if you would like. There will be no fee. So what do you personally do? That's going to, again, depend on you and depend on your specific scenario. My personal recommendation, not knowing what schools that you're going to, not knowing what schools you're applying to, blah, 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 would be that taking the essay is a safe bet and that leaving the essay on your test is a totally safe and fine choice. And probably if you're not sure between the two, the one that I would go with. Because the essay isn't going to hurt you. Even if schools totally ignore it, throw it in the trash, it's not going to harm you. And it can only give you benefits if a school is going to look at it or potentially is going to want you to have it. So I would recommend, if you're not interested in calling the schools, just take it, leave it as is. But if you do want to consider canceling it, talk to your school to see if that's appropriate.
All right. So one more time, I 100% agree with that statement. I think a lot of schools, I think you all have like kind of heard the news and follow along. A lot of schools went test optional, right? And like, what does test optional mean, right? Test option means not required, but if you submit it, they will look at it or they have a choice to look at it, and that can only help you in your application. Optional things can't hurt you. Actually, in like reality of most college admissions, very, very few things actually hurt you. Everything you do is either added value to your app. That's like insider lingo. Added value to your application or neutral value. So either it helps you or they're just like, cool, you did it. They acknowledged it, and then moving on to the next topic that they're using for admission. So definitely 100% yes. Erica's response was perfect. Cool. Right before we move on to the next question, if you haven't liked or subscribed the Magoosh channel, go ahead. It's somewhere down here. I don't know where you guys are seeing this, but downstairs, smash the like button, smash the subscribe button. Lots of amazing content, especially for if you are a junior, sophomore, freshman, or even before that, getting ready for test prep. Magoosh is the best low-cost, high-value test prep program out there. They are amazing. So yeah, it's a quick little plug right there for me. All right, moving on. Next question real fast. We have Sonia. What is the biggest score improvement someone has gotten from Magoosh? I'll go ahead and start. And Erica, if you want to add anything to that. But so this is the reason why I love Magoosh is Magoosh has something called a score guarantee, right? The score guarantee means if you use Magoosh, you take a test before, right? You use Magoosh, and if they don't give you that increase, they'll give you your money back. It's like a long free trial, basically long time if it doesn't work for you. But they guarantee if you take the SAT, you will have a 100-point increase, which is insane. And for the ACT, for those who are interested in the ACT, it's a 4-point, which is also a huge jump as well too. For those contexts as well too, this SC is out of 1600, AC is out of 36. So that's why the big difference in numbers. But regardless, that's kind of equivalent to each other. Really amazing. I've seen all score like numbers all across the board. But I just know that they have an amazing score guarantee. Erica, if you want to add anything to that.
Yeah. Again, totally shout out to this score guarantee. The score guarantee is amazing. You really have nothing to lose if you have that original score. In terms of what sort of score improvement you can expect, which isn't exactly the question that was asked, but I'm going to answer it anyway. Your personal score improvement is going to depend on a lot of factors, depending on where you're starting. If you're starting from a lower score, you're probably going to get more points than if you're starting from a higher score. Similarly, it depends on your timeline. So if you're working with a shorter timeline, maybe going with our 1-month plan, you're probably not going to see as much improvement as if you're going with one of our longer duration plans, like 3 months or even a 12-month plan. And then similarly, even within any of those plans, it's going to depend on how effectively you're using Magoosh. So are you using it consistently? Are you studying in multiple study sessions per week? Are you prioritizing and learning from your weaknesses, et cetera, et cetera? So your score improvement using Magoosh is going to totally depend on you personally and your timeline, your starting score, and your personal commitment to your studies.
It's a super awesome response. Love it. Love it. Right. If you're loving all the value so far, definitely smash that like button. If you have a question, you have two amazing experts right here. You have the amazing Erica, our resident test prep expert from Magoosh, and you got me, the amazing Coach Tony. So hey, we're here maybe in the 10 more minutes. So if you have to ask your questions now, if you want to ask your questions before we have to bounce off. All right, next one. Rebecca has another great question as well too. Rebecca asked, do you guys know what all the testing dates are for this year? All right, I actually have it pulled up, so I was ready for this question as well too. So for this one, right, quick ninja hack for you all. I did it by Googling SAT test dates and ACT test dates. So that's the magic behind all these dates right here. So for the SAT, right, the next few test dates, they posted 3 on their website. It's the March 13th test date, May 8th, and June 5th. And I Googled ACT test dates. And then the next few test dates for this one is February 6th, April 17th, June 12th, and July 17th. And as time gets closer to those, they release more and more test dates. So if you can, same thing, if you didn't write those down, or I went too fast, just Google ACT test dates, SAT test dates, and you'll the answers will be right there for you. Fantastic. All right. Air Secretor X asks, do you think that as there are no more SAT subject tests, the regular SAT will become more important to our application? Should we substitute subjects with other tests such as AP?
I can jump in. And I think Tony will probably have more context on this from an admissions perspective. In terms of will the actual SAT have more weight? Potentially in the absence of something like APs, your SAT or ACT would have more importance to your application. But what I would imagine more is kind of in line with your second question, where I think APs will kind of rise to fill that gap. So AP tests are something that hopefully are already something you're prioritizing for your college applications. But in all likelihood, in the coming years, as more and more students do not have any SAT subject tests with their applications, APs will rise in importance. But again, that is speculative. Things are changing pretty rapidly in the college admissions world, so things could be quite different in a couple of years. Tony?
Yeah, quick chiming in. I feel these are two very complicated questions as well too. The first one, real quick, I guess sharing, like I'm just thinking out loud so you all can see it. I don't have the thoughts fully put together. But the question was, would the SAT be more important, right? So in the realm of admissions, the whole thing is, would you be a good fit at this school? That's all it is, right? And then if you look through trends kind of thing, there's a lot of factors. I think people think the test score is just like the main factor. There's a bunch of different factors. There's grades, test scores, extracurriculars, leadership, your essays, letters of recommendation, any interviews. It's a bunch of different factors. So I think the essay will play a role, right? Another thing to think about as well too, if you like kind of following along with what the colleges have been doing, a lot of colleges actually went test optional, right, this past year. And they even say like, we're planning to go again test optional next year. But what does that really mean, right? I think we kind of talked about this earlier today. Test optional means you don't have to do it. Right? You don't have to do it, but if you send it, I will look at it, right? And that's the one thing that a lot of students hasn't clicked yet, right? Because if they don't require, right, you have two students with a 4.0 GPA, you have two students with awesome extracurriculars, extra leadership, but this one student took the SAT and did really well, right? They studied with Magoosh and did really, really well, right? And this person didn't submit. Not saying this is a bad student, right? Because they had 4.0 awesome things as well too. But this person is doing the little extra things. And that's, you put yourself in the realm of like an admissions officer. Who do you want at your university? Do you want someone who does the minimum, right? Because the minimum for most schools is actually really little. Like for UCs, the minimum is a 3.0 GPA. That's it. For if you want to go to one of the UCLA, UC Berkeley, that's it. 3.0 GPA is the minimum. However, why do you take AP classes? Why do you do, some of you guys do dual enrollment classes? Some of you all do extracurriculars. Some of you are like presidents of certain things as well. So you get involved in community service. All that is not needed, but you're doing extra things to make you stand out even more, right? And same thing, especially as the time goes on more and schools move to test optional. Optional, I tell all my students, optional equals required. Right? You treat it as a required requirement, so it only helps your application, doesn't hurt you. Right? Everything you do, it just helps you. That's the answer to the first one. Second one, 100%. They even made that statement in their statement. Of like they're gonna push students towards APs more. So in subject tests, APs are basically the same equivalent. The past few years, I would recommend my students, if you took the AP, let's say AP US History, take the SAT subject US History because it's basically the same test, right? So yes, push towards the AP classes. Another fun thing I talk to my students about dual enrollment. So I'm really big on dual enrollment. If you're interested in that, I have my YouTube channel down below. I'm going to post about the dual enrollment later on this week. So if you're interested in that, smash the subscribe in the description. And also smash the subscribe with the Magoosh. Smash that like button as well, too. So this is a very definitely complicated question, but it's all quickly summarized as just yes. The answer is yes. Should I do it? Yes. Always yes. Fantastic. That was a great, awesome. All right, Samira, another awesome question as well. Unrelated question. Are Magoosh practice questions harder than the actual SAT questions?
That is a great question. For the most part, our questions are meant to mirror actual SAT questions in terms of difficulty. That said, depending on where you are and what you're looking at, some of the questions in our advanced are going to look like some of the hardest questions that you would see on the test. So if you're looking predominantly at advanced questions, it's going to look a lot harder because the test doesn't represent them with that sort of frequency. Similarly, if you're looking at some of the beginner questions, those might seem easier than the actual test because, again, of the frequency distribution. So for the most part, to answer your question, Magoosh practice questions are meant to mirror the difficulty of the test. We do have some questions that are especially challenging. That's some feedback that we've heard from some students is that the challenge of some of our questions helps them feel over-prepared for the SAT and ACT, and nothing better than being over-prepared.
For sure, I agree. All right, next, a super quick shout out to Sonia. Sonia's been using Magoosh for a couple weeks and loving it. Great virtual high five, Sonia. Boop, virtual high five for you. All right. Again, we have only a few minutes left. So if you have any questions, drop it in the comments now before we have to head out. And as you're writing your comment, make sure you also click that subscribe button, click that like button as well too, as you're there. Fantastic. Valiant ask, if I'm a junior this year, should I take the SAT in March or wait till April for the streamlined version? What do you think, Erica?
Yeah, so that's a really great question and a really great point of clarification. The streamlined version is not necessarily coming in April. More information is coming in April. So do not put your plans on hold is my big piece of advice. If you are ready to take your test, and you're a junior, taking it in March is a really great time to take it because you also then have the opportunity to potentially retake if that's the right choice for you. So I would not recommend waiting unless you have a reason like you want to take more time to study or you know you only have one shot at it. So no, do not wait on the streamlined version. We don't know when it's coming. We don't necessarily know if it's coming. We just know that they are investing more in it. So no, don't do it.
I agree with that. Yeah, I think my usual like tips for my students is you should, especially juniors. So if you are a junior right now, just plan, especially if you look at your schools that you're applying. So because that's something, reverse engineer the whole process, right? Look at your schools. If 0 schools say we're not even looking at the score, there's no need to. But if maybe even one, and that might be the one school, right? If one school says, yeah, we're optional, remember optional equals required, right? If one school says, yeah, we're optional, I would plan for the first test in March. April is the perfect like first time you take it, right? And then I would also, my personal recommendations, this is my Coach Tony recommending, take one of them, SAT or ACT in March, April, take and the other one. So if you took the SAT, take the ACT. If you took the ACT, take the SAT in like June-ish months, right? That gives you 2 scores. Now you have 2 scores and you have 2 different experiences. Now you're like, ooh, I really like that SAT more, or I really like that ACT more. I will spend all summer studying for that last test one more time and submit and taking it one last final time in August, September, right? The logic behind that and why I've seen success in many students who do that is that, one, you send all your scores, the admissions readers, we see the trends. We see you took both ones. And from a reader's point of view, how I've been able to explain with other readers as well too, is that you're trying to see what test is best for you. Right? You're not just predicting one or the other. You're taking both tests, seeing which one, and then the second retake, you're studying really hard on that, and you see that increase, right? That upward trend, schools love that upward trend as well, especially if you stay with Magoosh and have that score guarantee as well too, right? Fantastic. All right, we have a few questions left. If you have any last minute questions, definitely drop them in the comments before we have to head out. All right, Sonia is a little worried. Sonia's PSAT score was 890. I'm looking for 1400. How do you think I can achieve that?
So that's a really great question. And I want to commend you on an ambitious goal because I'm not going to say that that's not an ambitious goal because it is. That's a big jump. And that's awesome. The first thing that I would say is give yourself time. Jumps like that don't happen quickly. They come as a result of sustained, consistent practice. So I would really recommend, especially if you are working on your own self-studying, if you have the opportunity to have some guidance, like something like Magoosh, I would highly recommend that. That's one, going to help you with that score guarantee, but it's also going to help you make sure that you're studying wisely. So making sure that you're focusing your energies on the right stuff. There's a lot of material out there that's not very good. So making sure that you are studying with materials that are useful and prioritizing your attention appropriately is a really great plan. Similarly, at Magoosh, we have study plans. They're specifically for the SAT, but the PSAT is basically the same thing with a couple little differences. If you want more information on that, we've got plenty of blog articles about it that you can take a look at. But those study schedules might also be an effective way to plan your time accordingly so that over the course of however many weeks or months you have, you are using that time effectively to study the areas that will help you improve your score the most.
Super awesome. I hope that helps Sonia enjoying, and we're all rooting for you over here. As well, rooting to get that 1400 as well too. All right, so quick little pause real fast. We're running low on time. We're going overtime now as well too. We're gonna go ahead and pick 1 or 2 more questions. So we're so sorry we can't get to every question. However, if we do miss you, leave it in the comments after the video. Either I'll probably personally come in or Magoosh will probably come in and we'll help answer the question as well too. So we're here with you, right? Where this is brand new to everyone. Is not like we knew all is coming. We're all adjusting and adapting just like you all are. And you guys are doing an amazing job. It's definitely an interesting past few months for all you all. So you are doing amazing. Super proud of everyone here as well too. So let's go through a few more questions. And if we can't get to your question, I'm so sorry. Just leave it in the comments after the video and we'll go ahead and go through them after. Right? Erica, this is a good question for you. Othalia asks, what exactly is Magoosh?
Wow, what a big question. I love that. So Magoosh is a test prep company, and specifically what we're talking about here is our online program. So our online program for Magoosh is an online account that you sign up for where you are given access to lessons, largely video lessons, question explanations, both written and video, in the form of quizzes, in the form of practice, as well as practice tests. So Magoosh is a lot of content for practice, but it's also more than that. It's guidance on what to study, what to focus on, what's important for your score. So if you sign up for our 1 month, 3 month, or 12-month programs or packages, you will get access to that full course or that full online dashboard. So that's what Magoosh is. And again, it's made by people like me, test experts. So we know all there is to know about the SAT and ACT. So we're not going to lead you astray like a lot of other resources might. Additionally, Magoosh is an incredible student help team. When you have access to Magoosh, you also have access to a team of tutors and experts who can help you with questions you have about your Magoosh account or about your study schedule. So Magoosh is not just the content, it's also the people. And then one other thing about Magoosh is that we have a 7-day free trial. So if you want to know more about Magoosh, I highly recommend signing up for that. There's no risk there. If you don't like it, you don't have to buy it. And if you want to know more, try it out, see if it's right for you.
Awesome. Fantastic. That's a great, super encompassing answer for everything. We only have time, maybe I think, for one more question. And we're going super over time right now also. But everyone else, if we don't get to your question, definitely drop it in the comments. Drop your question. Make sure you say Erica's the best. And then we'll definitely go through and answer all the questions. So we'll squeeze in one last quick one. I think this will be beneficial to a lot of other students. Also have to try to pick the one that like most students can benefit from. So Emily asked, do you have any tips on how to stay consistent with my SAT practice? I have a ton of schoolwork after school and I've never have time. I just procrastinate. I think out of all the questions, this is the most universal one that every single high school student has told me. Erica, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, Emily, I feel for you. It is hard to do, especially if you're a junior in high school. I know that was the busiest year of my life ever. So I totally feel you on that concern, and you're not alone. My big recommendation in terms of fitting it in is to plan in advance. So I would recommend sitting down with your week and going, what days do I have any availability? When can I commit to doing the studying? And it might be at kind of odd times, maybe in the morning before you go to school, before you jump in your online classes. That's a really great time to study when you're fresh. Similarly, it might be a little bit of time on the weekends, but commit to that time in advance, and that's really going to help you out. We have a couple of other tools that can help with that with Magoosh. So I mentioned our study schedules earlier. That's a great kind of tool to know what you're supposed to do in advance. Similarly, we have things like study reminders that you can sign up for, where Magoosh will text you and say, it's time to study with Magoosh. And that can be a really helpful reminder as a way to keep you accountable. So yeah, in summary, plan in advance when you're going to do it.
Awesome, man. I'll just do a quick my quick 2 cents about this. Time to get real. So Coach Tony, this is my big thing. I get real with you all, right? So the biggest thing I hear from high school students is I don't have time, or I don't have time to squeeze this in, right? And so what all my students who have ever asked me that I don't have time, I'm like, here's 24 hours. Tell me exactly what you do with 24 hours in your day, right? I assume you spend 8 hours in school. I'm sure it's less now, but it's like, let's say 8 hours in school, which is school, homework, blah, blah, blah. Right? You spend 8 hours sleeping, which I'm pretty sure you don't spend 8 hours sleeping, but let's say 8 hours sleeping, right? That's 16 hours. You still have 8 hours left in the day. What do you do with the other 8 hours? And this is also another thought experience for current juniors who are doing the admission cycle later on. If you want to talk to me about it, I'm going to ask you, what do you spend your 8 hours doing? That's your activity section of the college application, right? But going back to this question of 8 hours, what do you spend your time doing, right? A lot of students end up, once you actually break it down, I'll actually spend 3 hours watching Netflix every day. I actually spend 2-3 hours scrolling through Instagram, or scrolling through TikTok video and watch Coach Tony's at Coach Tony Lee TikTok kind of thing, which is cool, right? But then doing that, so I'm like, how about, let's not get rid of it. Let's cut that in half. So instead of watching 2 episodes a day, let's watch 1 episode. Let's dedicate the other half and crushing it really hard with Magoosh ACT practice, right? To make sure I get the amazing score. So in the future, I can get into amazing college, to get an amazing career. So I have all the time in the world to watch Netflix later on. Right. So I think that's, for me, it's just evaluate your life. I think this is the real talk for me as well, for all the students I work with. Real talk, literally write 24 hours a day. What do you spend your time doing every single day? And be real with yourself. You can lie and whatever, but you're only hurting yourself. Right. And then you'll find that time. If you are committed to know that the ACT, SAT, knowing that working with Magoosh should be great for you, right? You will find the time to succeed. I think, and that's what separates when I read college admissions letters. And also the students who succeed, right? A lot of students now during the pandemic, I can't do my clubs at home. I can't do this. I can't do that. All the winners who are going to get into really successful schools, they found, I can't do that. However, what if I do this? I can't do this, but let me try that. Right? So winners don't make excuses. I know you all are winners. So definitely no excuses. Definitely try out a free week of Magoosh. If you haven't liked this video, like the video. Haven't subscribed to the video. And then that we do have a lot of questions. We are running over time. So definitely, Erica, if you have any closing words for today, we'll close off soon.
Yeah, thank you all so much for being here today and for asking your questions. Again, if you have more questions, throw those in the comments and someone will respond to you. We're all in this together and we're all finding things out. But if you are looking for announcements on what's going on, we try to keep as up to speed as possible here on our YouTube channel as well as on our blog. So check those places out for more announcements. You can also follow the College Board and ACT websites for information straight from the source.
Fantastic. And with that, I have nothing else to say. I'll see everyone soon, and happy test prepping. Bye, everyone.
Bye.